Hi friends, it's your art teacher, Miss Barnett, and this week we've been wrapping up our unit on people and places. So for our last couple of lessons, we've drawn people alone and we've drawn people in groups. We have learned about positive and negative shapes, and we even created a stencil and did some stencil printing to create visual rhythm in our last lesson. So today's lesson, we're going to be using the art form of collage. Collage is a French word that means to cut and to paste. Artists use all kinds of materials to collage. You could use paper, newspaper, fabric, lace, all kinds of stuff, cardboard. The options are endless. What we're going to use today is paper though. So before we get started today, I want you to take a moment and brainstorm some ideas for your artwork, because artists have a 4-step process that we use, and brainstorming is always, and planning is always the first step. So I want you to think about what place will you show your people in, because you're going to make a collage of people in a place, right? Is it going to have trees, or is it going to have buildings? What colors and shapes will you need to show this place? What will the people be doing in your collage? And how will you show through their bodies what they're doing? So remember, we've also talked about motion and the parts of the bodies that bend. So your head bends, your waist bends, your elbows and your shoulders, your knees. So think about how people are moving, or how you're going to show movement through your collage. So think about that. Maybe jot down some ideas or sketch something out if you want, and then come back and we'll get started. So today, guys, you're going to need a larger piece of paper to create your background. If you're working at home, just use whatever size paper you have available to you. It's not a big deal. You're going to want a variety of colors of paper. You can either use construction paper, or you could use magazine or newspaper, whatever paper you have available. Wrapping paper might be really cool too. You're going to want some scissors and some glue, because we're collaging. You might want a pencil to help you sketch before you cut. And then at the end, when we add details, you're going to want markers or crayons. So once you've gathered your materials, let's sit down and get started. Okay, friends, I wanted to show you what brainstorming might look for you. So I came up with an idea. I'm going to do my collage on kids walking to school. I'm going to need a building and trees and a sidewalk. The building is the school. I'm going to use red, brown, and white and rectangles, squares, and triangles to show the school. The trees are going to be brown and green, and they're going to have organic shapes. The sidewalk is going to be gray, and it's going to make an S kind of shape. And then I'm going to show movement by walking, and that's going to look like bended knees and ankles and arms swinging side to side. Then after I brainstormed and wrote down some ideas, I took a moment and I sketched out some thumbnails. So it's all the same subject. I've got school and trees and kids walking to school. In each of these pictures, I just rearranged and changed where they were on the paper. And I think the one that I like the best is going to be this one. So once you've done your planning and your brainstorming, you can get out your big paper and your construction paper and start cutting out your big shapes. So I'm going to get started on that. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is to review how to safely use your scissors. So remember, this thumb goes in the small hole, your fingers go in the larger hole. We keep our elbow at our side, our arm is straight out like we're shaking someone's hand when we're ready to cut. We put the paper in the other hand away from the scissors, we open wide, and we snip. So hold it on the other side, snip. Also, cut shapes out from the edges of the paper. Do not come in the middle of the paper and cut a shape like we did for stenciling. That's going to waste a lot of your paper. So remember, safety scissors, safety, and we'll get started. Okay, friends, let's take a minute and review and revise what we've been working on. So I want you to ask yourself the following questions. Did you overlap shapes? Did you put shapes on top of shapes? Good. Did you repeat a shape or a color? So I've got red repeated, and I've got green repeated, and some blues repeated. And let's see, shapes. I've repeated the person shapes, I've repeated rectangles, and I've made different organic shapes. So yes, I've repeated. And are we ready to glue? Yes, I am ready to glue. So what we're going to do now is you're going to take a moment and you are going to start with the paper, the biggest papers towards the back, and start gluing all these shapes down. Let's get started. All right, friends, I finished gluing all my shapes down. Now, before we continue, I want you to think, how are you going to add details to this using your markers and crayons? Are you going to add details to the clothes? And how are you going to show the people's faces? So take a moment, think about that, and then use your markers and crayons, and let's start adding details to our collage. All right, friends, here is my completed people and places collage. I repeated colors, I overlapped shapes, I have added details to the clothes and the faces, to the building, to the sidewalk. I think it looks pretty awesome. I'm sure yours are going to look really awesome too. I cannot wait to see how you do this and what ideas you come up with. You guys are super duper smart, and I know that you're going to come up with some really cool things. So I hope you have as much fun doing this as I did, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.